will just allay your all anxieties and worries. I didn't have the direct contact to work with them except in one CPC where I was supposed to do some immunological investigations. You must learn to give love and respect to others so that you can get it. I learned in PGI this. Dr. Banerjee called me when I was sitting eating my lunch with Rakesh's room, which we shared, and he went, why don't you come and sit down and have lunch with us? So I joined the faculty's lunch room. Dr. Banerjee one day told me, Dr. Saab, you are senior enough, would you participate in some teaching activities? And I was given the privilege to do the staff CPCs, which is a very big honor to a student. And I still relish that. I'll relish that till I live. About PGI, I can say one or two things about PGI, Department of Pathology. That wherever I go I must have gone in all the continents. And I found a lot of our friends there. And all these teachers there now, senior pathologists, wherever they are working, they are doing excellently well. And that is all because of PGI Chandigarh. So with this all, I have lots of things to talk, but ladies and gentlemen, I'll stop it here. And one more thing I would add. Such a combination of expertise. I was given an experimental medicine subject for my PhD thesis, and I was to remove the brain from the rhesus monkey. In my childhood, I was so scared of monkeys, and I happened to face a monkey and pit the monkey, anesthetize the monkey for my experimental first one. That was the biggest experience of my life. I brought the brain out, brought it to the department in the grossing room, and with those big forceps and scissors, I wanted to remove the circle of Willis, which was my part of interest. And you can imagine that small circle of Willis of a small brain, you just cannot remove it. And you will immediately break it the moment you touch it. I was cursing myself, what subject have you taken? So from the corridor, Dr. Kusum Joshi was passing. So she peeped inside, who's there? She was probably a lecturer at that time. She walked in. She said, what are you doing? I said, ma'am, this is brain I have to dissect. She says, with these instruments? Come. She took me to her room and she gave me small, very cute type of forceps and scissors, which she must have carried from her student days, I'm very sure. Her personal, and she came back with me, she said, I will demonstrate one dissection to you. And she demonstrated how to remove the circle of Willis, and that gave me the thesis to me. And I could have never done that part unless that encouragement I got from the teachers of this college. My friend Rajvanshi writes on Facebook, you must all read, and it's very interesting. Except the professional, lot of things he's writing. I hope you join him. I think I've joined him as a good friend, and I got the message of coming here from him. I'm very thankful to Mr. Chairman of the organizers for this thing, and I couldn't have missed it. Therefore, once again, I thank you all, and Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir. The Hematology Department evolved as one of the 4 divisions of the Pathology Department in 1978. The Department of Hematology has been instrumental in providing some of our country's best teachers and torchbearers of hematology. Professor K.C. Das was the founder head of the Department of Hematology. He joined PGI as a senior lecturer in 1965. He was selected as a member of the team for the exchange program with the Royal Postgraduate Medical School, Hammersmith Hospital, London, in 1968 to 1969, where he worked with Dr. S.M. Lewis and Sir John Dacey. Later, he worked with Professor Victor Herbert in the Columbia University, New York. He was the head of Hematology Department in PGI from 1976 to 1986 and chairman of the Department of Pathology from 1985 to 86. He has left his imprints on all aspects of the subject, the most important contribution being related to study of molecular mechanisms of megaloblastosis. May I request Dr. Kadri to kindly come up to the stage to felicitate Professor Das. And Dr. Kadri has done his MD from PGI, kindly come up on the stage, sir, and has done his PhD also from the Department of Hematology. He has been a Commonwealth Medical Fellow and worked in London. He has been the ex-professor and head Department of Hematology and Transfusion Medicine, Government Medical College and SMHS Hospital, Srinagar. I request Professor Neelam Verma, Head of Department of Hematology at present, to kindly escort Professor K.C. Das to the stage. Professor Das will be happy to hear some words from you.
At the very outset, I would like to thank the current faculty of the Department of Pathology for the honor they have done me during this occasion. I would like to share with you some reminiscence of my stay in the department. I think, as stated already, I joined the department in 1965 as a senior lecturer. Hematology at that time was a low-profile subject, not only in Chandigarh, but all over India. It existed in a recognizable form only in two cities of India. One was School of Tropical Medicine, Calcutta, under the patronage of Professor J.B. Chatterjee. Second place, where it made a headway at that time, was in the Medical College, Vellore, under Professor Baker. With abundance of clinical material around in Chandigarh when I joined, there was a lot of expectations that from the stage of non-entity, hematology would be developed or evolved into state-of-the-art, comparable to or compatible with any postgraduate institute, possibly UK or USA. However, it is obvious that the stakes are very high, and therefore hard work were necessary. However, there are a lot of impediments. For example, the medical technical establishment were not well developed at that time, and therefore a lot of work had to be done. The problem was that biochemical reagents were not very easily available. Many of them had to be imported. Most people working at that time may now remember there was a lot of restriction on import from other countries, and therefore whatever development we would like to have had to be done within the limitations of the restrictions of imports. Let's just give two examples. One is that to investigate and follow up cases of hemophilia, you have to assay factor VIII content of the plasma. But factor VIII deficient plasma had to be imported from abroad. This could not be done because of restrictions of fund, The other thing is, even if you wanted to import something, there is some organization called Foreign Post Office in Delhi, where you go for importing things, get your imported things, they'll ask for chaya pani. They don't realize that it cannot be given from PGI. So because of this problem of chaya pani and other things, the things could not be imported, and therefore we decided to do something about it. And we managed to prepare an artificially factor 8 plasma, mixing serum from rabbit and serum from plasma, the plasma from the rabbit. Because the factor 5 which gets depleted when plasma is converted into serum was very high in quantity in the rabbit. For example, compared to 100 units of factor 8 in the human, it was about 1000 units in the rabbit. And therefore plasma also, the serum also contained a lot of factor 5. And we managed to do that, and we used an artificial plasma. The method has been published. This is possibly the first publication from the hematology department in Indian Medical Research Journal, and this continued for a long time. Similarly, we had similar problem in doing bone marrow chromosomes and chromosomes from lymphocyte cultures. The culture media had to be imported, and therefore there was a restriction on this, and therefore we prepared a media ourselves from the constituents available in the department, and it succeeded. That is the second publication in 1966 from this department on successful chromosomal studies without using commercial media. Now these are examples I am giving for in the development of technology for use in the Department of Hematology. Now these are only 2 examples, but there are many other examples which many of my colleagues will share with me. The problems we had at that time. Anyway, the process of hematology, the Department of Hematology slowly progressed, and ultimately we managed to develop almost all techniques required for a high-powered hematology section. However, during the process, it was very obvious that we would expand, even physically. So rooms after rooms were taken for different investigations. At one phase I was told that a part cannot be bigger than a whole. That would be the thing, that if a part cannot be bigger than a whole, a part can be made into a whole. And that is possibly the evolution of departments. These are important developments. And I must say, during the process, I have helped extensively by so-called residents, junior and senior, by my colleagues who joined at that time, many of whom are now heading department in different places, including this place. And I must say that during this process, I was terribly inspired by all of them. And that inspiration kept me working for a long time. In fact, I felt that onset of senility possibly can be only prevented by active thinking in your brain cells as well as in your physics. If you don't use them, you lose them in any way. In fact, I must say that I am possibly as active as I am because of the inspiration I received from my colleagues and the so-called residents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Professor A.K. Banerjee. Professor Banerjee, he graduated from Calcutta National Medical College in 1962, and he joined PGI in January 1964 as a PG student and passed in 1966. He joined as a research officer in April 96 till 1968, and was a lecturer in 1968 till 1970, and he became an assistant professor in November 1970. He retired as professor and head of histopathology in July 2001. A perfectionist and a meticulous to the core, and he had a special interest in neuropathology and endocrine pathology and soft tissue pathology. And he was a terror in his days. He is a terror still, and we all remember his soft issues. May I request Dr. Geeta Dev from New Delhi, an alumnus, to please come up to the stage to felicitate Dr. Banerjee. Dr. Geeta Dev. May I request Professor Rajvanshi to please escort Dr. Banerjee to the stage.
Many of you probably don't know Professor Geeta Dev. She is a professor at the University College of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. And why she has been called to felicitate me, because she was the first victim of, she did her thesis under me. It was a privilege.
So may I request you to say a few words without terrorizing us.
First of all, I have a request that on this 58th year, please spare me from that quality which doesn't exist actually. If it did exist, I wouldn't be in touch with so many of the former residents. And for your information, at home nobody is scared of me. Well, the former speakers, Professor Datta, Professor Yesidas, they came to PGI as teachers. I came to PGI as a resident. In fact, I have upgraded my designation considering the current nomenclature. At that time we are called PG student. And in one of the skits, one of the PGs, he modified it to PPG, poor postgraduates. Later I call myself junior resident because just to keep up with the current more respectable designation. Now, being the first, I would narrate just a bit of an example of how you got into this. And if you note those things, you will find that the changes that have taken in the last few decades. I was doing house job in Calcutta in Department of Medicine. That was my most favorite subject. Having done 1 year's house job, I learned that medicine is too vast. So let me try pathology. And somebody told me, yes, pathology, just, that book of Boyd, you know? I said, I know that book of Boyd. I never read it because undergraduate I had it. I never read it. I read only those cyclostyle notes. So, no, if you read Boyd, you will be a pathologist, as Bush was referring to yesterday. It's also very nice. So I landed up in Delhi with some 5 friends of mine, working there and looking for an opportunity in pathology. I was working as a researcher in microbiology. Somebody there suggested, why don't you go and meet Professor Ramalingaswamy? I did actually go and meet him. I don't know whether he told me the truth or not, but he said, no, this year we're not taking any PG. By the way, why don't you go to Chandigarh? Professor Ikat is coming. And both these names are totally unfamiliar with me. I didn't know where Chandigarh is and who is Professor Ikat. So then somebody told me they have seen advertisement. So I applied. And how to come to Chandigarh? Having come from Calcutta, I generally used to travel by train, so I bought a timetable, North Indian Railways. Found there's a train which goes from Delhi to Ambala, and then that is changed. From Ambala, you come to Chandigarh. So I tried that train. Luckily for me, at the New Delhi station, I found 2 of my class fellows from Calcutta. They were also coming for the interview, not for pathology, but surgery. So I accompanied. Finally, we landed in Chandigarh, December, winter, around this time. Chandigarh station comprised of, just like the original pathology department, 3 rooms only.